Gerst, and welcome to another episode of Health Naturally. I'm very happy to welcome my friend and colleague from Project New Hope, the president of Project New Hope, Bill Moore. Hi, Bill. How you doing?
Good, Paul. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Bill, why don't you start out by telling everybody a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm originally from Worcester, Mass. I presently live in Leicester, Mass. Joined the Air Force right out of high school at age 17. Was a crash rescue firefighter. Went into the Air Force for 4 years and got hurt while I was serving in the military, and a disabled vet now, retired. Retired about 2007. And married, have 4 children, 2 grandchildren, and that's that. So back in 2007, I started a thing called Project New Hope. I belonged to the Leicester Lions Club. I was looking for a local service project that my Lions Club could do, being very involved with veterans and Gold Star families and survivors. And I came across a link called Project New Hope out in Minnesota, your home state, I think. And so I reached out to them out in Minnesota and told them I'd be interested in seeing what their program was all about. And they flew me out to Minnesota and was able to participate in this weekend for veterans and their families. And really liked what I saw. And came back to Massachusetts in December 2010 with $1,000 of my own money, started Project New Hope. And then went out and met with a friend of my daughter's, Erica's, was good friends with Brian Moquin, and Brian joined the military, went into the Army, and was killed in Afghanistan. And I went to see his mom, Tracy, and was telling Tracy about Project New Hope. And she said, Bill, let me stop you right there. She says, hope means so much to me. She says, when Brian was growing up, typical adolescent behaviors, Brian was getting into some trouble. And his mom said, don't worry, it's just growing up, that's all it is. And then he joined the Army, the 10th Mountain Division, and he called up his mom, says, Mom, I love it. He says, there's hope for me. And then she got that dreaded knock at her door that her son was killed in Afghanistan, her only child. And she brought him home and buried him in Hope Cemetery in Worcester. And she says, now here you are today talking to me about Project New Hope. She says, that has so much meaning for me. And she gave me a private donation of $10,000 from his death gratuity money to start Project New Hope. And we went out and got our 501c3 and did the necessary paperwork to solicit donations in Massachusetts and stuff. And our first year in 2011, we offered 5 retreats. So this is pretty much my full-time job. I'm a volunteer, as is all the board members and everybody that serves for Project New Hope. None of us get paid. Everything is reinvested right back into Project New Hope to offer more and more retreats.
So tell people what Project New Hope is like. What are the retreats like for the veterans?
All right, well, Project New Hope, when we initially started it, we were offering free weekend retreats for veterans and their families, to include our Gold Star and survivor families. And for the audience that doesn't know what a Gold Star is I'm a Blue Star father. I have back in the World War II, they'd have a flag on the front door with a blue star. It might have 1 or 2, depending on if your husband or your son or daughter was serving in the military.
A family member who's serving.
A family member serving. I have a daughter that's active duty in the Air Force, down at Otis Air Force Base. She's in the Air National Guard. Well, Tracy has that same flag, has a gold star, meaning that the person in that household has lost a loved one, whether it's a husband or a child. And so that's what a Gold Star family member is. So we started offering those free retreats here. Being a veteran myself and working with the VA, getting my health care for my PTSD, for my back injury, and for a host of other medical problems. After post 9/11, it was pretty evident that the VA could not handle this influx of veterans coming through the VA. And when you're in the military, if you get hurt, some veterans are med boarded out, meaning they can't be doing active duty any longer. So the military will discharge them, but they'll have a service-connected disability leaving. Other veterans will be discharged out of the military, and then the veteran will go through the VA to open up a claim, which is a very tedious process. Well, just seeing, having a lot of friends deployed to Iraq and then Afghanistan, and then coming back with post-traumatic stress disorder, traumatic brain injury because of these IEDs and stuff. The warfare has changed, and it's more urban now, and roadside bombs and stuff, and seeing the marriages fall apart, and seeing the suicide rate, losing 1 and 2 veterans a day to suicide, spurred me to say, hey, we got to do something here. So we partner with the VA in Massachusetts. We partner with the vet centers. We've reached out to the VSOs, which is the Veteran Service Officers. Every town and city in Massachusetts has a veteran service officer. So we're pretty fortunate for living in Massachusetts. The benefits are really, really good in Massachusetts. And so we started offering these free weekend retreats, and the families would register on our website, and what they would do is they would sign up for a retreat. We started doing a women veterans retreat. We've done a male veterans retreat. We've partnered with the Mass Rehab Commission and done one for traumatic brain injury, PTSD. We've done one for military sexual trauma. We did the first one this year in New England, addressing military sexual trauma. And I thought it was just maybe a woman being raped, but it's deeper than that. About half the participants in that retreat were male veterans. So it was educational for me. So that's what Project New Hope does, and we really focus on the holistic part, because being a veteran, it's very easy to go to the doctors, and I say they push medication on us. They give us a lot of medication. To me, medication is not going to correct everything. It kind of opens up the doors to other things there, whether it's drug and alcohol, the marital problems here, this and that here. So doing the retreats here, we have workshops. We might have a workshop on communication, a couples retreat where we're working on communication between the husband and the wife, because whoever deployed, whether it was the husband or the wife, that spouse is gone for a year. Now you got the one parent that's left back home here acting as the mom and dad. And now you have the spouse that comes back from a war zone, and now things are different. What they've been subject to over there, some injuries or whatever the case might be here. Sure. So now you've got these barriers here, not just reconnecting with your spouse and your children here, but now with employment, or maybe waiting for your benefits to kick in here. You're losing your house here. So it's very traumatic.
Reacclimating to the culture.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because it's a lot different. When I was in the Air Force 30-something years ago, if I deployed, I would come back to the military installation that I was at. All the supports are on the military installation, whether it was the Air Force, the Coast Guard, the Army, the Marines. Today, our citizen soldiers, where you might be in a National Guard armory in Plymouth, or you might live in Plymouth and your National Guard armory might be in Worcester, or it might be down Cape Cod. So who does your wife or your husband go to for support when you live here in Plymouth, but your husband or your wife's spouse is in Rhode Island or down the Cape or whatever? So what we do here is, and I call it wraparound services, we don't just treat the veteran, we also treat the spouse, and we also treat the children. And so that's very important. We offer workshops for the children. We offer workshops for the spouses. The spouses get to interact with other spouses and say, hey, I'm not alone here. There's help for us here.
So finish